This introductory tutorial will take you through the basics of using Certara's integral repository with the web client, including navigating and searching folders to review the creation of those folders, upload of new files, edits, and any analyses performed upon them. It should be watched in conjunction with the other videos for a complete picture of Integral's capabilities. Firstly, log into the system using a Chromium-based browser like Firefox or Chrome. Then enter your username and password. Much of your time you will be looking at the folders from the home screen. But let us first understand the icons in the main menu. Their functions are revealed by hovering over them. Note that security and the last cog icon, administration, are covered in separate videos. The compare and copy link functions will be covered later in this video. Typically, this administration icon would not be visible to a typical user since it requires system admin privileges. We can access Integral's online help at the bottom of this page by clicking the Help link, which will open in a new tab and also contains the user documents, like the release notes, as PDFs. Additionally, there is a direct link to the support page should you need to contact them. Either log in to search the knowledge base or email your question directly to support@certara.com. Returning to the Integral window, let me start by showing you the quick search that looks only at the root folder names. Typing any fragment of a folder name here will return the results without the need for wildcards. In this instance, int returns 2 folders. Selecting a folder, I can see under Permissions that Simon Davis is the author of this folder. Let's move to the Contents tab. At this level, the right-hand tab reflects the subfolders of the root that we also see on the left-hand side. I will select the History tab, and then expand the Commits drop-down. This shows a history of the events in this study folder that were performed. In this specific example, these tasks were shown in the Phoenix plugin tutorial. First, we have the study folder being created, then the first time the data files are loaded, followed by an experiment event when an analysis was performed. Next, the source data is updated, and the experiment reanalyzed. Then, looking the final results for this analysis, and so forth. We can also look at the permissions to see who might have been able to see and work on this study. This is normally controlled by the administration policies, but you can check permission groups or users here. In this example, most users have full rights. However, the test user 3 has just read access. And below, we can see the group permissions, which are created and managed by the Integral administrators that have permissions to this folder. The final tab is labeled cdisk, which is not pertinent to this example, but let me just show you how it looks in another study, where some cdisk domain SAS transport files have been loaded. This panel is now populated because in the background, Integral has the ability to extract cdisk data into database tables for later use by data mining tools such as D360. The cdisk data extraction contains only the latest revision of each domain. Let us now click on the Contents tab, where we can see that these SAS transport files are also rendered in the web client. Let us move back to look at the prior study that we were working with. The data folder is now expanded, and we can see that some data files have been uploaded. And under the Experiments folder, we can see that this specific NCA analysis was performed in Phoenix. The Phoenix project is currently selected, and that this is the 3rd revision. From this Phoenix project, the NCA core output has been extracted when saving back to Integral. The padlock icon indicates that it has been locked by Integral, and we can see what this file contains in the Contents tab. And now, I shall select the NCA final parameters output. Note the different icon to indicate that this is a worksheet, as opposed to a simple text file like the core output. This too can be rendered in the browser. The ellipsis icon shows the options available on any object in Integral. Note that many of these options are also available using the icons on the right-hand panel. I could choose to edit, download, blind or lock a file here. We shall look at compare later. Let us now take a look at some of Integral's other filter and search functions. First, I will clear the existing filter on INT. Selecting the filter icon, we can see that this has much richer options to search upon. For instance, folders of type study. Then, depending on the folder type chosen, other options of the folder's properties are exposed upon which to filter. I wonder if some other studies have been performed on this same compound integral. However, in this case, the filter has returned just one study. Since this is not the one I was looking for, I shall recreate the filter to look for studies that I have actually worked on. First, I will clear the previous criteria to start a clean search. Again, I will limit my filter to folders of type study. But this time, I shall choose Modified By to find those studies I worked on, and select my user identity, Simon Davis, before clicking the Apply button. Now, 4 studies are returned, and perhaps the CHL 1492 study is the folder that I was looking for. So I could add it to my favorites to find it more quickly in the future. Now, I can simply click on the heart icon, and the visible folder list is reduced. This shows you that there are many ways to filter upon folder names. So far, we have looked only at filtering on folders. However, the search option is also interesting, because it can rapidly search within and retrieve files that contain a search term within the file itself. In this example, integral. Many more files are found, potentially across several studies, and all of which contain this word, every instance of which is highlighted in the actual file. Here we see integral highlighted in the NCA core output. In the lower panel, the results can be refined further by various properties, and through the ellipsis icon, each file can be downloaded, compared, or with sufficient permissions, edited. Again, note the icons on the right-hand panel are another way to access these same functions. Also, in these views is a miniature of the whole file to help navigate for those instances which have been highlighted. Be aware that edit is not always changing the actual data, but sometimes just how it is viewed and tagged. For instance, in this worksheet, no headers are currently shown. Selecting Edit allows me to request that the headers are displayed. Note that this has not changed the file, the date and the revision remain unchanged. But now the headers are displayed within the web browser, making it easier to read the data. A really useful function of integral is the compare. Let me show you how it works. Imagine I want to see how the NCA results changed over time for this study as new data was received. I will choose the experiment that was created in a previous tutorial using Phoenix. The compare tool works on plain text format files, like the extracted CSV of the final parameters. Several versions of this file exist. The view defaults to the latest, in this case version 3, and the previous, version 2. On the right-hand side, a pale red box indicates where a difference might be found. Clicking here to quickly scroll to the line, the values that are different are shaded a darker red. Clicking on the top, using the drop-down, I can select a different version. Now we are comparing the most recent to the first version. 2 areas of the file have differences indicated. The last of the menu items to cover in this tutorial is the copy link function. Let me demonstrate an example of how you might want to use this. Imagine you want to reuse some data, be it raw or output from previous models in another study. In this example, I might want to use this population dataset for some sort of meta-analysis. So on the right-hand side, I select the project to which I want to make it available. This will be the destination. And select the desired destination subfolder. Then you can simply drag and drop from left to right. source to destination. Either a copy or a link can be made from this file. Generally, you may find a link more practical, since it acts as a dynamic view of the original file, especially when Auto Update is selected, since the destination files are automatically updated if the linked source files are changed. Since a new object has been generated, you must give your reason and a password to authorize this. The new file link is indicated by this specific icon. It is possible for linked files to be converted to copies of the file by unlinking. In fact, this will happen automatically if the source is deleted. This is a one-way process. A copy cannot be converted back to a link. Let us now return to the home view to see how the folder looks now. I once again select the study folder we have been looking at. And, within its data folder, we now see the theopd2.dat file, whose history tab details how it was initially a linked file and then converted to a copy. Here, we can also click to generate an audit report. That can also detail the file differences between the most recent and prior versions, or against the first version, or indeed any custom selection made by the user. The resulting PDFs created are downloaded within a zip file. There is an audit report of the differences, as well as the summary, which records who created and the history of each file. Lastly, if we check the notifications icon in the top right-hand corner, we will see that the recent events are flagged, where an experiment was marked out of date, and the conversion of a linked file to a copy that I just performed. That concludes this tutorial video. We hope you found it useful. This video is courtesy of Certara University. Visit us at www.certarauniversity.com for your professional training needs.